Welcome to Pathways. I'm Dr. Kate Hetherington, president of Howard Community College. Preparing students for careers has always been at the heart of higher education. Research shows that recent graduates have better success when they couple theoretical knowledge with hands-on learning experiences. That is why apprenticeships and internships have become critically important. They have essentially replaced the entry-level job concept, giving aspiring professionals a foot in the door. The college has an apprenticeship program in heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration, but is now expanding apprenticeships into new fields to better educate the workforce of the future. Joining me now are Mina Wu, Associate Vice President of Continuing Education and Workforce Development, and Patty Turner, Dean of Science, Engineering, and Technology. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
The apprenticeship model is usually centered around the trades. And so how are things changing in the workforce and here at HCC, Mina?
Yes. So traditionally, when people think of apprenticeships, they think of the HVAC technician or electricians, the usual trades. However, the landscape of apprenticeship is changing, partly because the landscape of higher education, as well as workforce needs, are changing. So in higher education today, we're seeing more adult students, more part-time students, and more than ever, students who hold part-time and even full-time jobs while they're going to school. And it is clear that finances is a hardship for some of our students. And in the past, when they finish and graduate, they're able to start entry-level positions to start their career. However, the demands that are now being placed on those entry-level positions require those positions to require the employees to come with 1 to 2 years of experience. So colleges have responded to this need by creating internship programs and doing other things. However, we took a reflective pause to say, can we do better? We have students who need jobs, and we have employers who are looking for students who come out of educational experiences with work experience. State of Maryland, as well as nationally, they're beginning to look to apprenticeship programs and the model, especially the non-traditional apprenticeships, to say, is this a creative solution to meet and resolve the access issue for our students, as well as the workforce needs? At Howard Community College, we were just approved to be a registered apprenticeship sponsor for one of those non-traditional apprenticeship programs in construction management. And we're looking forward to kicking the program off this summer.
Well, it's so exciting to hear the work that you and your team are doing and the work that's happening by the faculty and staff here at the college. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
What are the benefits, Patty, of a non-traditional apprenticeship model?
Well, I think a non-traditional apprenticeship model is something that everybody benefits from, all the partners, the employers, the college certainly, and absolutely the students benefit. For employers, it is a workforce development pipeline that enables them to cultivate talent, particularly in high-growth industries such as IT, construction management, healthcare, advanced manufacturing. They can allow the community colleges can provide the technical and also the general education instruction that is expensive for employers to provide, and we have a record of doing it so well and at an effective cost. Okay? The employers can make a relatively short-term investment in an employee that they view as a collaborator and a potential worker who can move forward in their organization. And I think it's a great way for companies, businesses, to cultivate a diverse workforce, to identify women and underrepresented minorities who could benefit from further education and help them move along in their company and move on to new positions and new roles. For the college, we always benefit from our strong relationships with business and industry. It absolutely helps us with program development, and faculty are always happy to have highly motivated students in their classes that can connect their academic coursework with their workplace experiences. And finally, for students, students in these apprenticeship programs are working full-time. They have full-time pay with incremental pay increases and benefits. They are giving time to go to school as part of their work, so they're not trying to kind of squeeze in their classes around their full-time job. And they graduate with a degree. They have a degree at the end, a credit, they've accumulated college credits and they have a degree, and hopefully they can take that degree and move forward.
So HCC is always at the cutting edge of what's happening to support the workforce. So what do you see, Patty, happening in the future?
My vision for this is to expand the apprenticeship model into areas that are not traditionally thought of as being candidates for apprenticeship programs. So for example, a student majoring in physics that maybe want to go to graduate school could potentially get a job at the Applied Physics Lab or some other company and actually get some experience and begin to understand what it's like to actually function as a scientist and a physicist while going to school. I see great opportunities for engineering, for biologists, biotechnologists. I think it's really wide open.
Wonderful. And Mina, what do you think? What do you see the future is holding?
Yes. As Patty mentioned, I think we can expand the non-traditional apprenticeship model to other disciplines and other majors we have here at the college. I think that would be a very creative solution to helping our students meet their goals and reach their success. And I hope to continue to work with the industry partners to see what they're facing, what kind of needs and demands and struggles they have, and how we can partner with them to alleviate some of those needs. And I really truly believe that this is a win for everyone.
Well, thank you both for being here today. And partnerships are one of the key values of the college, and I think you're both demonstrating it by the work that you're doing, not only with the faculty and staff here, but also with the businesses and industries in Howard County. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Internships create powerful learning experiences for all students from all fields at HCC. Students in the health sciences, for instance, are spending hundreds of hours working alongside health professionals to gain skills and experience for their chosen careers. Let's hear more about it.
Brittany Baker is a first-year student studying diagnostic medical sonography. This semester, she's doing one of 3 clinical internships at a local health facility.
Right now, I'm at Shady Grove Adventist Hospital. I follow around the sonographers there. I normally just watch them, but they let me scan sometimes too. I get patient interactions, and it's really fun. I love it there.
Internships are a critical part of the learning process for students in the program. Each internship gives the students exposure to a wide variety of equipment, patients, and health facilities.
They are seeing real patients. They're learning patient care. They're understanding HIPAA or privacy regulations. They work on a wide variety of equipment. They're working with radiologists or vascular surgeons. They are learning their communication skills, things that they could read about in a book, but until you are actually in that situation.
I mean, I've always been outgoing, but it makes it much easier to interact with patients and to know just what to experience with working with so many different people and different illnesses. It's just so many different things that could be going on. So it just lets you learn how to deal with each situation. You can't do that here. You need to be in the clinical site to experience all that.
And all of the experience and information they've absorbed can go a long way as they enter the workforce.
We have really strong, determined students that leave this program really ready to enter the field. They leave credentialed, they leave skilled and confident.
It's tough, but definitely rewarding. Again, I love working with people, so that for me is, again, being able to help them and help diagnose if there's an issue, and just that's important to me.
To prepare students for today's interconnected world, communication skills are vital to workforce success. Here to tell us more is Jen Garner, Associate Professor and Co-Chair of English, and Crystal Walker, Communication Instructor and Co-Coordinator of the Communication Studies Department. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Well, it's so great to have you today, and I have a few questions, and I'd like to start with you, Crystal. Okay. So when everyone uses technology today to communicate, how has your teaching evolved?
Well, I think that the teaching has evolved in two ways. One, the process or our delivery in how we communicate with our students, and then also what we're actually teaching them and how we teach them to use that technology. So being in the field of communications, there's high expectations of our ability to communicate effectively. And technology has allowed us to have access to videos in the classroom. It's allowed us to use cell phones for learning. It's allowed us to use laptop carts right away. And that allows us to give students information firsthand very quickly, and it makes it more real time for their learning. As far as the product that the students end up learning how to do is, how do I translate my communication, whether I'm using technology, whether I'm face to face, and really learning the communications intelligence skills to let them know what they should be using when. So that's been really exciting.
Great. And Jen, how about you? What's your perspective on this?
So I agree that we have the access to a lot of different tools that we've never had in the classroom today. But I think also, especially coming from the perspective of an English teacher, is that we focus on the foundation skills for students as well. That the tools that they're using and have access to, they need to know how to choose which tool to use and consider the basics of, audience, purpose, their tone, what is it they want to communicate. And so those skills are foundational, and that's what we try to do in our classrooms, is give those foundations so that no matter what tool they're using to communicate or to receive communications, they are doing it as effectively as they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so important. So what are the ways you innovate in the classroom to prepare students for the workforce? Jen, how about you?
Again, I'm going to say we give them the foundational skills, but we also have the opportunity to present information in a lot of ways. We use the latest tools. We use Twitter. We use looking at memes, those kind of things. But then we go back to thinking about, well, who is your audience? Who is the audience? Are you the audience for what you're reading, for what you're seeing? And that's something students really struggle with and aren't aware of, that, they think, well, I just read it. It must be done for me. And a lot of times that's not the case. And so focusing with them on audience, the longer I teach, I think that's the most important skill we can give to our students. Which isn't particularly innovative, but I think that that's the most important thing. When there are breakdowns in communication, it usually comes down to audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's so critical, and that's important for them to learn, because I don't think people, as you say, focus on the audience. Yeah. So wonderful. How about you, Crystal?
I think the innovation for communications discipline is really starting to change because of all of the things that communications as a discipline is becoming involved in. Over the years, it's gone from being a class to a full discipline, and it's a discipline that requires scholarly approach as well as, again, that product. Like, we have people who learn how to actually communicate. So as far as innovation in the classroom, we're looking at things that are pretty, in my opinion, pretty cool. Like, we're talking about ethics in terms of artificial intelligence. What happens if, your workplace that you're going into now has these automated beings? What are you going to do? How are you going to communicate? Some other things that we're able to do, as Jen stated, like, we pull up memes, we pull up real-time data on Twitter, we take a look at the news, we're able to actually pluck things apart, we're able to recreate them more ethically. It gives students the ability to really take it outside of the textbook and apply it in ways that I don't think we've been able to have the ability to do until now.
Well, we always say we're preparing the workforce of the future, and just what you said is evidence of that.
Yes, absolutely.
So how do you help students think critically and evaluate the information that they're receiving?
That's a struggle. It's a struggle for our students because, quite frankly, in the past, how often are students in K through 12 told to think critically, completely? And so it's kind of one of those things that K through 12, they're learning the information, they are learning the foundations, but all of a sudden they show up in college and we want them to think critically and to have this amassed amount of knowledge that they can pull from. And so I think that what I have to do is ask the question why as opposed to what. That is a question that students tend to struggle with. So for example, if I do cause and effect discussions, they can easily tell me the effects of things such as rhetoric or persuasion or racism or discrimination. They can easily tell me the effects, but when I say, well, why does this exist? How did we get here? That's the why and the how are the questions that they struggle with. And so we begin to break those things down by using, very minimal thought processes or topics that require them to think. So we talk about it in a very small scale, and then we start applying it to those larger problems, because otherwise they don't always make those clear connections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're so critical.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jen?
100% agree with Crystal that, I think in the college setting, our main job is critical thinking and teaching our students how to think critically and be able to ask questions and feel like they can be part of conversations that are happening locally on a national stage, that they have something to contribute to those conversations. And then also I think we need to teach them the information literacy skills because they have so much information that comes at them. And it's easy to be tricked by the information. I mean, we've all seen that, the fake news era that we're in. And so teaching them to really be critical of the things that they're reading, that they see, thinking about where did this come from, why would they want to show this to me, those kind of questions. And really just questioning everything, being able to ask questions, I think is a big part of their critical thinking education.
Well, thank you both for sharing your experience today, and thank you for doing such a marvelous job with our students. You really are preparing them for their next journey in life, and I know they'll be well prepared because they have such excellent teachers in the both of you. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
For our teacher education students, field experiences are necessary to prepare for working in a classroom. Students may have those experiences in the college's lab school, located at the Children's Learning Center, or in a public school classroom.
A very special partnership with the Howard County Public School System has been giving future teachers a glimpse into what life will be like when they are one day assigned a classroom of their own.
We work with 21 partnership schools, and we place over 150 students with about that many mentors. And we work with a coordinator at the public schools and then a coordinator at each of those schools. We place students with different mentors every semester. It's a really phenomenal partnership.
Steve Braun serves as a mentor to HCC students.
I think it's ideal because it gets the students, the college students, involved right away so that they're making better choices about their own education, where they want to focus, what the population they want to work with.
Aspiring teachers are required to complete a minimum of 45 hours of field experience in classrooms. HCC alumna Erica Hamilton found her experience in the classroom was time well spent.
I got a lot of first experience in a classroom and got to see how students interacted and how they absorbed information and different personalities and different teaching ways and techniques. It was an eye-opener for sure, but it helped me see everything and not just what the textbook teaches you.
Currently a student at Towson University, Erica gained valuable field experience while at HCC.
The biggest advantage I feel is that I have a lot more hours in a classroom than my peers. I know what to observe and absorb and take away, and all the goods and the bads where they're still trying to figure out how to identify what they see. So that was a really big advantage for me.
We wish Erica the best of luck.
Learning at home. Learning in the classroom. Learning for success. For learning that works for you, choose Howard Community College. To find courses and programs that fit your schedule and learning style, visit howardcc.edu. You can get there from here.
Howard Community College recognizes that not every student has the schedule or transportation to participate in an off-campus work experience. That's why the college launched an on-campus paid internship program. Howard Community College student Ryan Record is taking the first step in pursuit of a radio career by interning at the college's own station, Dragon Digital Radio.
My first week here, it was like stepping on eggshells. I had no idea what I was really doing. Now it's all so straightforward. I can step on in and know exactly what I need to do.
Ryan Record is immersing himself in an on-campus paid internship with Dragon Digital Radio.
We're striving to generate some quality programming and expand our listenership every day.
The internship is providing Ryan, an audio and video media production student, with hands-on production experience. He's also building his on-air portfolio. Ryan conducts live interviews in addition to producing and hosting 2 shows, Put the Needle on the Record and Throwback Thursday.
He is connected and he has this passion for local music, and so he's producing a show right now. He's working on it. He's connecting with local bands, bringing them in, doing interviews, creating a show on that. So it's a very unique thing that he brings because it's in his personality, his passion is what he wants to do, and that's what we offer through our internship is kind of like an individualized internship.
Ryan is responsible for editing both shows, gaining approximately 4 hours of post-production experience every week.
I've learned so much just like using all the Adobe programs, just learning all the little ins and outs of, cutting and the trims and tails as they put it. Sometimes, to fit that specific window of 30 minutes and you have an hour worth of material, you're gonna have to cut out some ideas, and that was hard for me to do at first.
But Ryan is not only working on radio skills. By interacting with guests, the internship is helping Ryan sharpen foundational skills vital to workplace success.
I'm here to keep him calm, cool, and collected and be like, hey, it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's make this productive and positive and be a good time. In addition to my own coursework here, this has been like a second job, and I also work another full-time job. So just time management and having it all come together and work out, like I said, has been a challenge, but it really pushes me and has me strive for more.
Ryan is transferring to Towson University in the fall. A position with WTMD, a public radio station licensed and owned by Towson University, is also in his sights. But the Dragon Digital Radio internship provided motivation for his newfound path.
Before this, I hadn't had too much on my resume in this field, so it's definitely been a great stepping stone moving forward, and it helped influence what I want to do in the future, because working here, I've just enjoyed it so much. I'm so solidified, and this is what I want to do now.
We wish Ryan the best as he completes his internship and transfers to Towson University. As living proof that a community college education can lead to career success, look no further than Darian Smith, assistant professor of dance. He started his college dance training at a community college.
Though his mother was a dancer, Smith didn't study the art form until he was inspired in high school.
When I saw the performance, it was B.B. Miller. She did something called the Hendrix Project, and I was completely mesmerized when I saw her performing and listening to Hendrix music. And I just had never seen somebody do something that was so expressive and full of so much meaning without words. Of course, there was music playing, but it was really the physicality of what she was doing.
Darian attended his hometown community college, Santa Barbara City College, studying under dance professor Kay Fulton.
She really is kind of my dance mom. She really introduced me to the whole world of dance, and she taught me some very fundamental things about dance. I would come in and I would be quite shy, and she would work with me to bring out more of myself and not be hidden behind this shy person that I was. At a certain point, Kay sort of saw that I had a high enough skill level to sort of move on to the next step, and she saw that I was quite dedicated, because I was. At that time, I can relate of having jobs and having to go to community college. I was working for a tree company. People don't know that about me. I would show up and sometimes have twigs and stuff in my hair because I would go take a dance class right after I got off work, and she sort of went an extra mile with me also, and prepared me to be in a larger pool, for example, or a larger field.
Darian later attended and graduated from Folkwang University of the Arts in Germany, and went on to study at the Bolshoi Ballet Academy in Russia.
It was a short stint. It wasn't an extensive study at the Bolshoi, but I did live in the dormitory, and so you would get up in the morning, you have your breakfast, and then you go to take class, and you take classes all day, and then you go and stretch at night.
Darian would go on to perform as a professional dancer with companies in New York City, including the Dance Theater of Harlem. He then returned to school, earning his Master of Fine Arts degree at the University of Oregon. While searching for full-time work, Howard Community College struck a chord with Darian's own journey.
When I found HCC, I thought this is a really good opportunity for me to step into a role that somebody provided for me. When Kay Fulton, when she approached me and said, "Come take dance," and she really opened up my world to dance. She really facilitated my dancing, and I thought I can do that also here at this community college.
Darian has already made his mark, organizing the Howard County Community Dance Festival and choreographing a piece for Howard Community College's dance company concert.
I get to plug back into my choreographer role, so that's fun because I'm working with my students and also some people who are not dance majors, and so maybe they'll think about this, oh, I want to be a dance major. That's really exciting to work with them in this way because we work so hard in the class, and then to be able to put all of that information into a performance is really exciting, and they're doing a wonderful job.
Since attending community college over 20 years ago, Smith has studied and performed all over the world. He truly has come full circle. Well, that wraps up this edition of Pathways. Thank you for joining me.